Good morning. Good morning. My name is Jocelyn, a pelvic floor physical therapist, owner of the Vagina Doc Physical Therapy and Wellness. And this morning I want to talk about empowerment. I want to talk about empowerment because I find that in my practice and in my career, those that really see the results and see their life change understand empowerment or are become empowered. To define, I Googled empowerment this morning, and according to the Oxford Dictionary, it's defined as the authority or power given to someone to do something, or the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights. So, how does that fit into pelvic health? Well, a lot of us have no idea what even the pelvis is, what pelvic health consists of, and then how to talk about our problems around this area because they've been for so long considered taboo. So, urinary leakage, fecal incontinence, issues around sex. People are afraid to talk about it because it's uncomfortable. So we tend to just push it to the wayside and not we move further and further away from our body or away. Yeah, we basically move further and further away from empowerment. And so whenever I work with people, I have a basically a framework because I know how important this piece is in people taking steps towards whatever goal that they have. And the first step is mindset, awareness, physical health, and sexual health, education along all of those pieces. And my goal is to get people to understand and know about their body so that they ultimately have the control over decisions they make about their body. The people that don't want to know and they just say, fix me, often that results in quick fixes and they're back to square one. So my purpose and my goal with my messaging and what I'm doing is to empower people to take control over their pelvic health. And that's step one is education. We unlike for women, unlike us, men can see their parts and they can see their parts from a young age. They share locker rooms. They are encouraged to do things that would empower them to learn about their genitalia and all the other things around that area. Women, on the other hand, we can't as easily see our parts. We aren't really intermingled as so much as men are and as boys are, and we are told that things like urinary leakage, those are normal after stages of life, and that's just that's untrue. And so we move further and further away of being in control of our body just based on our beliefs and what we know. So a lot of people see so what is pelvic health? Pelvic health is anything that's related to the area between the belly button and the knee. Very broad definition. But when we think about pelvic health, we generally think of the urogenital, so urinary system, urinary function, gynecological function, or if you're a man, let's just call it sexual health. I can't think of the word right now. GI function, fertility for women, fertility for men, back pain, hip pain, abdominal pain. It's pretty broad. And so that can be, pelvic health can be your ability to control your body in space when you're exercising. It could, and that's particularly isolated to the low back and pelvis, sacroiliac joint. It could be the ability to have pain-free or pleasurable intercourse. It could be the ability to exercise without fear of symptoms without prolapse symptoms, so heaviness, vaginal heaviness, pressure, feeling of a bulge. And so part of that process is understanding what you have down there. Like, what is the pelvis? Well, the pelvis is the main bony structure where two bones called the innominate bones come together on a central bony structure called the sacrum, which is a continuation of the spine and then ends in the tailbone. You also have the sacroiliac joint there, you have the pubic symphysis, and then you have the sacrococcygeal joint. And all that together we know is the pelvis. And then the hips come in on each side. That's called as we know it, as the hip joint. And then the spine comes on top. And there's a lot of muscles and ligaments that form to hold everything together. And we use the pelvis and all the things that form the pelvis to transfer force from the ground up. It also houses really important structures such as the bladder, the uterus, all the ovaries, the fallopian tubes, the bowel, and then above that you have the pelvic cavity, and there's tissue that separate that. Then we have the pelvic outlet. So on the external side, we have our vulva, which houses our vaginal opening. It houses the urethra. It houses the anus, or the external anal sphincter. And I'm going to just focus on women. We have our clitoris that is covered or protected by a tissue called the clitoral hood. And we have lots of nerves that give us sensation there. There's lots of vessels that go through there. And it's this area is difficult to talk about because it's so complex, and it involves a lot of things that we were told not to talk about, like sex, for example. I find that people that have issues around intercourse must be open to learning about their anatomy so they can communicate what's going on to their partner, because we're not mind readers and we're not born as experts in anatomy and neuroanatomy and physiology. So in order to communicate, you have to have some level of understanding. Sometimes that involves you seeing someone like me by yourself. Sometimes it consists of you and your partner coming to see someone like me. But first step is understanding what your body does, and what it can do. You cannot go to someone and say, "Fix me," and expect to be empowered. The process of empowerment involves being a willingness to understand yourself and understand your body so that you can take control when you're not with your therapist, physical therapist, sex therapist, whoever that provider is. For me, I gained my empowerment when I got my power back. That's when my life started. It's crazy to think that I was sitting in my first year of PT school, listening to Tracy Spitznagel talk about pelvic health, and I'm like, I can never sit through an exam. I don't even want to know. I don't want to know. It's crazy to think that I fell in love that moment, but my fear almost held me back. And then it just by chance, I ended up in Iowa And and I almost, like, I didn't want my issues to stop my potential connection with someone at the time. And just so happened to be in the setting where there's a pelvic health physical therapist that I could talk to, who started my empowerment journey. And look, chipping away, educating myself, now educating others, treating others. I mean, to have the knowledge about my body, what it does, what it can do, is so freaking cool. And I know that my next step was, so I got this side, the physical side. Well, there's a lot other things, like, well, why do I believe what I believe about my body? Well, first I needed to know what my body was, what it could do, and then chip away at the other things, like the psychological aspects, the what my thoughts were about my self-image, about what I'm supposed to, what I want to be as a woman. So there's a lot of complicated stuff, complex stuff, but let's just start simple. When you are trying to gain control over your body back, whether that is your belly, your core, yourself as a sexual being, an intimate partner, step one is understanding and being open to learning about, really truly learning the foundation of our body and how it can work. And then understanding what the story you are telling yourself about your body. And then we can strip more and more layers off to give you total control, give you control over whatever part it is. But you have to have a willingness to get really up close and personal with the area that you want to transform, so that you can communicate what you want, what you need. And it has to be deeper. It has to be deeper than weight loss. It has to be deeper than just fitness, becoming more fit. But why? Like, you cannot put all of your, just, I'm with a trainer, I'm with this fitness, I'm with this, going to this fitness class, and they're going to help me get my body back. Well, part of that is educating yourself. What part of your body do you need back or want back, and why? I hope this gave you some insight on whether or not you're getting the results that you want. Why? Maybe this helped you understand that maybe you don't totally understand your body to communicate what you need or what you ultimately want. And that's where you start. You don't need to know it to the level of a doctor of physical therapy or an MD, a DO. You don't need to know it that well. But you do need to know it to communicate about it. Or I suggest you do if you really want to get the results that you want. I hope you have a wonderful Monday. If you want to be part of the private community on Facebook, the private group is the Pelvic Floor Support Group for Female Athletes and Active Women. If you need that link, send me a message. If you want to schedule an initial free consult, either Zoom or phone, you can go to my website, www.thevaginapt.com, fill out a form. You can send me a message here. You can send me an email. I'd love to speak with you. Until next time, I'll be back tomorrow around 7:30, and hope this gives you something to think about on your Monday. And yeah, see you next time.